Centurion remains very, very active in all efforts to get Ben released. I literally just got off the phone with Jim McCluskey, the founder and former executive director of Centurion, as I got out of the car. The Centurion has authorized me to communicate to the judge their full continued support of Ben should he be released on a PR bond, and their willingness to make resources available to him if need be. So Centurion is very much involved. Centurion has been involved before I was even involved in the case. So this is a case that Jim McCluskey took with him into retirement, and it's a case that Jim McCluskey is determined to see all the way through. I think there is frustration. This has been a 20-year battle. And, you know, when you have a loved one who has been locked up, and there's been recognition in 2008 that it wasn't fair, and that was rejected by the Court of Criminal Appeals, I can understand frustration being thrust in any and every angle possible, because it's just such a difficult burden to carry. But I can personally attest that Centurion has never backed away from Ben. Jim has never backed away. In fact, he and Ben are in regular contact almost weekly. And so it is misplaced, but it is understood.
What advice do you give your family?
Undoing a conviction is one of the hardest things to do in terms of a legal remedy and going through the court process. If you are convinced that your person is innocent, then you don't give up the fight, and you stand behind that person, and you help them in any fashion that you can to make certain that they access the legal sources and resources necessary to mount that kind of legal battle. Because unfortunately, the bottom line is that it is a legal battle. We're so close to the weekend, I'm not optimistic about getting any kind of substantive information. It's so close to the weekend, and because we have to also go through TDC to get the actual paperwork that will get Ben released, I am not optimistic that it will be this weekend.
What is the delay? What is the main delay?
So the application for bond was filed with the judge, and we are awaiting her consideration of that application. And we are waiting on the judge to hopefully grant the PR bond. Well, this decision is in front of Judge Mays because the case is in front of Judge Mays. And as I've commented, if you look at the pleadings that are filed, and that's what judges primarily look at, all of the pleadings relate to what happened with the trial and the investigation. There is nothing of record that talks about who Ben is today and the people who support him, and the information that is generally considered that a judge may want to consider for someone who's been incarcerated for 34 years. So, opinion, we filed a pleading yesterday wherein we brought to the judge's attention
Right. Yeah, so at the age of 19, I was falsely in prison for murder and attempted murder. I was given a total of 60 years in the Texas Department of Corrections. So at the age of 21, I left Dallas, Texas, and I was nestled out in Tennessee Colony, Texas. I would eventually be assigned to Cofield Unit, where I would spend the majority of my time, approximately 13 years. And the first day I walked onto the unit, they escort you to the barbershop. That's where you start off at. And I walked into the barbershop, and it was this tall, bright gentleman that was cutting hair. His job was actually to cut hair in the barbershop. And the common conversation is, where are you from? How much time do you have? And so forth. And so began the conversation with Ben and I. Ben asked me where I was from, and I told him from Dallas, and that was a familiarity. And then I went on to tell him that I was wrongfully incarcerated. And he said, man, I'm wrongfully incarcerated as well. And he said, I want to give you this address to this organization. They said they're one of the only nonprofit organizations that work with non-DNA. They said you need to write them. And so I sat down that night, it was in 1997, and wrote them this address. and they wrote me a letter back. And that began a dialogue for 10 years between Centurion and myself. Fast forward, what Ben also told me was, he said, Richard, don't wait for the state because the state may not open the door for you. So my direct appeal was denied. And at that point, I had to file my own writ of habeas corpus 1107, and Ben encouraged me to go to the law library, and that's where I met quite a few more other innocent men. And these men became a network for me as well, along with Ben. Fast forward, I walk out of prison after they found the evidence that they needed, and Ben just has never left my conversation because he's such an integral piece in my release.
Not only you, but we've heard stories that he's helped a lot of people.
Yes. You know, Ben, it's interesting that Ben was the first point of contact a lot of times, right? You know, he was the first point of contact when it comes to anybody coming in, and he was the first point of contact oftentimes in church, because every Sunday he would be in church, and so that was what he did. And Ben would encourage you to either do one or two things, either get in school because he worked in the schoolhouse, or to get in the law library if you were somebody that was wrongfully incarcerated, or if you felt like you had too much time that you were sentenced for. So he was always this person that escorted you through the system.
How was someone on the inside like that, where it felt like from the outside no one could help you, but someone from the inside was helping you? What was that like?
You know, when I walked in Cofield, I felt like I was the only innocent person in prison. And that can be overbearing to a person. But when you find somebody else that's fighting the same fight, that's encouraging. And at the end of the day, when Ben told me he was fighting the same fight, that encouraged me, because here's a man that's been here way longer than me. And he's maintaining, he has no disciplinary cases. He's somebody that his role in prison and his disciplinary in prison personified a person of integrity and innocence. And that superseded anything that he could physically tell me.
So basically, did you say he was a role model for you?
Yeah, he was, yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so we oftentimes cast those individuals to the side that are incarcerated, and we feel like that there's no need for them. Ben was a person, for the full extended time that I knew him, he had never caught a case. He had learned that he was in a system, but he wasn't the system. And that's something that's very important, because it's easy to be institutionalized. It's a world within the world. And Ben had learned that he wasn't an ex-convict. He wasn't a criminal. He was somebody that was going through something. And it was that strength that we all sought after.
For you and the other men that have met Ben, what can you and everybody say about him that's a common thing?
Yeah. Everybody that you will meet that knows Ben, whether they know him because they talk to him every day, or they know him because they saw him every day, they'll say he was consistent. Ben stayed out of trouble. He had a good job, meaning he didn't get any disciplinaries. You always saw him in church on Sundays. So it was certain characteristics about him that he never diverted from, and the fact that he never went away from his claim of actual innocence. And that's something that you're going to find often in our lives.
Was he preaching?
You know, funny thing about Ben went to one of the few church services that very few people wanted to go to. So Ben went to the Church of Christ Church, and there was no music, and it was one of those very hard messages. And a lot of people couldn't take that, but that just went to his responsibility and his important need to have that truth in him. He knows the word, so the word is in him. And so by virtue of that, he is a minister, whether a preacher or not, I don't know.
What can you tell us about Centurion, your experience with him? A little more details? Do you recall going backwards?
Yeah. So Centurion is the grandfather of the innocence movement. Before them, there was not an organization that was solely focused on people that was wrongfully incarcerated. Jim McCluskey, to go from Princeton Seminary to going into a prison and meeting a guy that's saying that they're innocent and changing Jim's direction says a lot about the founder, which says a lot about the mission. One of the interesting things about Centurion is not only do they look at a person's innocence, because they know it's a lot of innocent people in prison, Centurion looks at a person's character, because you can get an innocent person out that has a messed up character because of what they've experienced, and it can mess up the whole movement. And there's a lot of people, I believe, that Centurion has came across that are innocent, but they can't help because their hearts have been hurt by the system. And so it takes a while for Centurion to get those cases because they look beyond a person's innocence.
Do you feel that Centurion's done a lot in this case?
Yes, you know, the reality is Centurion pours not only resources, they pour emotions, they pour truth, they pour time, and that takes a lot out of organizations. A lot of times we feel like that it should go easy because it's true, but we're fighting a system that doesn't want truth to prevail. And so you can't look down on Centurion because it didn't happen in a manner that you felt like it should happen. Because the war is always bigger than the people in it. But it doesn't mean that you stop fighting the war.
What do you say to people that think their loved ones in the same position y'all are
Yeah.
for work? What do you say to them?
You know, the reality is some people may get out and some people may not get out. You know, we have innocent people still in prison right now. You know, will they be able to be released on innocence? We don't know. But they got to hold on to their truth. At the end of the day, we all will stand before an ultimate judge. And it's at that point that we will be fully exonerated from the cares of the world that disproportionately disconnects us from equality and equitable opportunities. I mean, I just appreciate everybody, you know, for supporting Ben, supporting the innocence movement. And this is a great day and a long time coming. Yes, sir. Oh, that's it. It's just a great day, a long time coming. And finally, hopefully, Ben will be able to tell his own story.
You've been here for the past few days and been through this whole process. It's taken a long time. It's
Yeah.
a toll on everybody. What do you think Ben is actually going through right now with all this?
You know, this is Ben's second time in the county. The first time they sent him back. So Ben, I did an interview this morning. It's hard when a person loses hope because if we as a society and a system don't allow people to grasp the hope that they wish for, then things become hopeless. And we don't want Ben to become hopeless because of pride or whatever. Ben right now is excited. He's scared. He's anxious. He's dealing with negative emotions that he has to get rid of before he walks out the door. He's dealing with himself. So there's a lot that's going on right now. And he has to hold himself accountable. And that's just something that we learn in prison. That's an important piece in us surviving.
We're drawing at the hip. Yeah, exactly. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
What you say we can do. In Jesus' name.
I also have online our court reporter and Attorney Foy, who is our writ master. Let me say a couple things before we get started to make sure we're all on the same page on what we're doing. As we all know, the court signed the application.
In her home at 1107 Hampshire in Cedar Hill. But in addition to these three members who have been steadfast in visiting with him, staying in touch with him, communicating with him during his period of incarceration, he also has sisters, brothers, his father, nieces, and uncles, nephews, many of whom are out in the hallways, Your Honor, and have been, as you know, downstairs eagerly awaiting his release. So he has a vast family network that has, again, stood by him throughout this 34-year ordeal. But equally significant to the family support is what I will call organizational and institutional support Benjamin enjoys. Centurion Ministries, which the court knows is a nationally recognized that they have had in terms of living in an institution intended to penalize people who violate. Means we're one step closer to bringing them home. I mean, it's been a long battle. Jim McCluskey from Centurion Ministries, who unfortunately could not fly down from Princeton, New Jersey, has been fighting for Ben for 20 years. So we're one step closer. After 30, you know, we were talking earlier that the 26th would be his 34th anniversary. Thank God that that will not be an anniversary that he'll celebrate, but we're substituting March 12th, 2021.
Emotional about it.
Yeah, I forgot Charles was the OG. Charles was there before I was even thought about it. So tell me, who are you guys?
Okay, I'm William Jackson.
What's a common group here? Why are y'all together? Tell me.
We all exonerated.
Exonerees.
Yeah.
We all served time in prison.
With Benjamin Spencer.
With Benjamin Spencer.
And you hope to add one to this group shot here?
Hey, we will soon.
You will what?
Add him to
Benjamin
this group.
Add him and many more.
Yeah, him and many more. You know,
I'm not an exoneree. I'm the I'm a witness of the greatness that
We
you
all
guys.
did time
Lisa
together.
Oppenheimer, who's there locked up wrongfully, and many, many more.
Yeah.
We support Benjamin Spencer. We think he needs to get out. He's worthy of his freedom, for sure.
We already know what Benjamin will do. This is what this is what he's going to do. What we're doing, help people get out there in there wrongfully convicted. I already know that. If I don't know anything else, I know that much about it.
You know it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. This is the blueprint. This is why you blueprint. This is the blueprint to the next month. They have to face what you face. You can show them that you stood strong.
This is real
And
strength.
you fought for Ben, and now Ben is free. So other mothers won't just go get this weird like you know. They can know it's a light on the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
You said you had a lot of fighting. What about your son?
He gotta have it. If he ain't my son.
All right. Get it from his mom.
Get it from his mama.
We weren't in there on the Spencer. Come describe what happened in your home.
Only thing they did is talked about his case a little bit and said what was going on with the case, and that right now they're waiting on Charles.
Hey, mama.
Hey, honey bunch. Love you, baby. And this brought up your name,
You did.
so I didn't say anything. But like I said, you all are my children.
Yes, ma'am. Mama took me down.
Black lives do matter.
It ain't a matter of black. Wait a minute, let me stop that. It's not a matter of black lives. All lives matter.
But it's tough to change.
All of my kids.
Every move to get him out. Everything.
Okay, William, I just met you today.
Yeah.
But come on up here. Hey, honey.
Yeah, you did it.
How you doing? I'm hanging in. Good day, thank the Lord. I'm still all of y'all's mom when you want the midnight. How you doing? This is Christina. Thank you, baby. Hey, my child. Big day.
guys.
My black went out, I think. That's why I got this blue. Let me see. You see the bookmarker sack over there by you? See the black in there. Well, I'll see if I can do it with the blue.
Hey, hold it, I gotta go take these hot jacks off.
Oh, she got it.
Ben, how does it feel?
It's wonderful. It's great. It's good to be finally to this point, to this stage. I appreciate everybody for their support, for the love, for everything that's been done on my behalf. I just can't thank you all enough. And it's been wonderful. It's been great. First and foremost, I would just like to thank Judge Leela Mays for bringing us to this point, this occasion. I'd like to thank the DA, John Crusoe, the Conviction Integrity Unit, Cynthia Garza, Centurion Ministries, Cheryl, Gary Udison, Daryl, everybody that stood behind me. I just appreciate you all. You know, I'm looking forward to this moment of getting to reconnect with my family, trying to reacclimate myself into freedom. And again, I appreciate everybody for their support and the love that's been shown to me over the years. And just, you know, I can't say enough about how much I appreciate and I thank you all for this. I'm thankful to finally have made it to this point in my life, you know, and I just can't thank you all enough for helping me arrive at this moment. So thank you. Trying to get a good meal. Amen. Hey. Hey. What's up? Say hello to your mom.
I'm with the Centurion group. What can you say to them?
I can't say enough for them. I mean, they have been tremendous in helping me. I mean, I started writing them in 1989, and they stuck with me through and through. And when Jim finally came in the picture and told me that they was taking my case, said he wasn't gonna leave me behind. He said he wasn't gonna quit till he got me out, and they stood by their word. I can't say enough for Centurion Ministries, Jim McCloskey, what they have done for me. I mean, they've been tremendous in their effort to free me, and I'm just most grateful to them first and foremost.
What are you saying about this lady that never gave up on you?
She's my mother. I love her. You know what I'm saying? She's tenacious. So hey, She is who she is. I love her.
What's your first thing to do? First meal, first day? What are you going to do?
Well, hopefully I'm gonna go get a steak, maybe.
Steak and potatoes.
Steak and potatoes, and try to get full. You know what I'm saying? I done had enough of the steak cuisine, so hey, ready for something new. Definitely.
How about your new people that you ever met?
Oh, hey, they in for a treat. That's all I can say. Yeah. All right, appreciate y'all. Thanks, you, Jim. Thanks, Kate, and everybody behind the scene at Centurion. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah. Centurion obviously has done a lot of cases in Dallas and throughout Texas, and so they asked me to help them with this case, and particularly Jim McCloskey and Cheryl Watley did. And I've known both of them for a long time and worked on things with them. And Centurion's an extraordinary organization, so it was a real honor to work with them. And then working on Ben's case was something that's a real honor. I've done a lot of these cases, and this was a good case, a difficult case to get through to the end, and I was glad to be part of it.
Anything you would have been different? Any advice for people in this situation?
Well, what made the difference in Ben's situation was John Crusoe, the district attorney, and Cynthia Garza, his conviction integrity chief, the work they did on this case and the way that they approached this with serious purpose to finding out the truth on it. That's what really got us to where we are, and I can't say enough good things about them on this case.
You gonna give me a picture?
Would you like for me to take the
Turn around, baby girl. Turn around the stations now. Yeah, turn around.
Jesus, Lord, you're mercy.
Okay, my name is Lucille Spencer. My name is spelled Lucille. Spencer?
Ms. Spencer,
Yes, sir.
I know you've been waiting a long time for this moment.
I've been working on it 34 years, and I'm hoping this is the final day that I'll be through working on it. But I'm not gonna stop with him. I'm still gonna work on other people, cases that has been wrongfully incarcerated. Not only wrongfully incarcerated, I'm working on the death penalty also, and I'm working with TOPS with anything they're working on right now.
Talk about this whole situation from
Child, this is a heartache. It has been a long, hard road. As I said before, I am a mother of 5. In fact, I don't know how many kids I got because I take them in. If you want a part of me, I take you in. So, and if you want me, I'm here. I just had my 82nd birthday on the 8th of March. As I said before, I love talking to people about God, and that has been my thing ever since I've been in the world, talking about God. I was brought up with my mom and my dad, and they told us all of us was God's people and not to let nobody tell us we're not human beings. And so I'd rather be called a human being than anything.
talk about your son and what all he's been going through.
Oh, don't ask me what he's been going through, because he's not going to tell me everything, but I can only tell you what he tell me when he tell me. When this happened on March the 22nd, he said he didn't know anything about it. And so he said to me, he said, Mama, he says, I don't know what's going on. He said, but I heard somebody say that I had done something. So I said, well, baby, all I asked you to do is always what I've always told y'all to do. Tell the truth, and the truth will set you free. Well, now I'm beginning to wonder, will the truth set you free with all the messes going on today? So he went on, and I went on, got up that morning and went to work. And so when I come home that evening, his wife at that time that was staying at the house with us said to me when I got in, she said, "Mama, you know what Ben is?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Where?" "In jail." Those are my words to her. She said, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "I just know." And she said, "Well, that's awful strange. You say he in jail?" I said, "Yeah." So when I called down, they told me they had him for a ticket. And so late on that night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, he called me. He said, "Mom," I said, "What, baby?" He said, "Guess what they got me in here for?" I said, "What, baby?" He said, "That remember the man that they said they found over on Angelina and Puget? They saying I killed him." I said, "They saying what?" He said, "They saying I killed him." He said, "But I didn't kill him. I don't know who killed him, and I'm not gonna lie on anybody." He said, "They're trying to make me say that I know who did it." I said, "Well, all I can tell you, baby, is all tell the truth, and whatever the truth is, it's gonna set you free." Okay, here it is, 34 years, and he's still locked up. So I'm wondering, why is he locked up when they don't have no evidence? They say it, and to prove that he did anything. So what I'm saying now today is, if there's no evidence, you don't know who killed him, why are you picking up one? Saying somebody did that, you don't know whether they did it or not. Today I really want to know, who is the person that really killed the man? Don't say my son did it, or don't accuse nobody else if you don't have proof that he did it. This is what's wrong with our system right today, is because we don't want the truth. We want to lie and cover it up. That's one of the things my mom taught me as a child. She said, people to throw a rock and hide their hand rather than to tell the truth about anything. And I'm at that point now that I believe it.
Did your faith that the truth would set him free ever waver? Never wavered?
So far it haven't, but I've been sick, and other people that stepped in and helped me to go farther and to work on Ben's case. There hasn't been a day really that I have been alone, that somebody has not been with me to help me to stay strong. The little girl I called a while ago, I met her back in 1987, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, when I met her, I met her through Max Cook, which is a person that they wrongfully accused him of killing somebody, and he almost got the death penalty. But through that, he's the one that turned me on to getting out, working hard to try to convince people to work on people that's been incarcerated wrongfully. And all I can say is thank you, Curry Max Cook, for that. Because if it hadn't, I don't know what I'd have did. He's still alive as far as I know. But he encouraged me a whole lot, along with Sister Helen Prejean, along with Rick Halper. It's been a lot of people that's been in my life through these 34 years that helped me to bridge this gap.
Were there ever times that you thought you wouldn't live to see this day? Can you talk about those times?
Well, those days if it hadn't been for God and my faith in God, I probably wouldn't have made as far as I have. These last 34 years, I've had a little bit of everything happen to me, but he still brought me through. In April last year, I had the COVID. And that was when, and right today, I have feelings that I'm real weak, but I still fight the fight of the COVID. And I still tell people, I feel like I still have the COVID, but they say I don't, because my body is still weak. No later than today, here it is, another hour. My grandbaby called me this morning early. She said to me, she said, "Nanny," said, what's going on here? I said, "I haven't heard a thing." She said, "Well, I'm coming to get you." I said, "Well, come on." She said, we're going to go down there. And so we just happened to come down.
Well, a couple hours is nothing compared to what, 30 some odd years.
Seemed like to me nobody has until now. And I'm gonna be honest with you, not too long ago, I made a remark. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I did curse. I told them that if somebody didn't do something pretty good, I was gonna sue everybody. Then all of a sudden the wheels started turning. Because I meant that from my heart. There's no sense in nobody being in prison or being in jail and you don't listen, and these are your clients. I was trying to figure out a word to say. These are your clients, but yet still you're not trying to figure out what is going on.
When you found out information
They'd be there with me, just make sure that they knew when things were going on, and I have. And I told them, how many times did I write y'all and tell you I didn't know nothing, they hadn't told me anything?
do you feel like they're kind of family now?
They are family.
Yeah, Arthur, can you go sit by her? I want you.
I'm gonna tell you.
15 years.
15 years.
Tell us your story. Y'all ready? Everybody ready? Y'all ready?
You can just look right here, kind of look around.
What do you want to know?
I don't want to make you nervous.
Just ask me, I answer.
So,
Just ask the question, I answer.
y'all in jail together, right?
Yes.
Talk about what happened in there and how you ended up saying, hey man, I'm going to help you talk to these moms. Just go through the whole process.
Well, you know, being in there, you know, we seen each other on a daily basis, but it wasn't like he was part of the circle that I was in. My circle was going to the rec yard and, you know, work and stuff, but his circle was just going to work, shower to eat, He didn't just hang out like the other people. But when he told me he was innocent, and you know, most times you see, a convict tell you that they innocent, another convict don't believe it, or everybody say that I'm innocent. But you can look and feel the innocence of him. Because you know the type of guy he was. I actually felt it in my heart that this man is innocent. But I did not, you know too much about it. I didn't, like I say, he wasn't part of my circle. But when I seen his mother post on Facebook, I immediately got in contact with her until I wanted to be a part of it. And I try to come up much as I can to support her. And we have a group called Cofield Regular, which is a unit that we all did time, and we got a lot of guys out here. I'm surprised some of them out here, they must be at work. And they didn't know about it. And we out here doing good things for ourselves. We not out here trying to go back. And so he have a lot of support other than his family. We have some friends that did time with him going to support him.
Arthur, so you have it. How many years was it since you last saw him?
22 years ago.
So 22 years ago.
Yeah.
And you said you would not have missed today for the world?
I wouldn't have never.
Talk about the why.
But why is it so important that you're here today?
Because I know the other guys that have been through the same situation, even though even though that myself was guilty, but still we went through the struggle. So this is why it's so important for me. And like Mama Spencer said, we want to do something more, not just for Spencer. We want to be able to try to help the next brother that's going through this and keep somebody from going through it.
True.
Is it frustrating to know that it's been this long?
Yes. To think that they know and didn't do nothing is frustrating. It's enough to make you want to kill somebody. I'm just being honest. Because if you can see things, why can't they see them? Why, if they see them, they go and hide it? Stop hiding this mess and tell the truth about it. Then you won't have no problem with none of it.
How are you going to celebrate?
How
I know
am I gonna
everybody's talking about, the past, but looking forward, what are y'all doing tonight? As soon as he gets out, how are
I'm
you
gonna
guys
tell you now, knowing him like I know him, and this corporate out here, and he hasn't had it, he's not gonna want to do too much of anything.
Tell everybody your name and spell your first and last name.
Okay, my name is Lucille Spencer. I'm Benjamin John Spencer III. Benjamin Spencer III's mother. He was born on December the 20th, 1964. And I want to tell you a little bit about me. And back in 1964, The police come up in our yard. We were staying in an apartment. And the police come in the yard and jumped on his dad. That was in '64. And I didn't know I was pregnant, but his dad knew I was pregnant. And so when me and the police got into it, he told him, he said, "You're not don't have my wife like that, she's pregnant." I said, "I ain't pregnant." He said, "Yes, you are." But I spent the night in jail for fighting the police in '64.
We've seen two ways you spell Benjamin's name. How do you spell his name?
It's Benjamine.
What's his favorite food that you like to cook?
Yeah, what's his favorite? I want to talk about what you guys are doing tonight because
I can't tell you what we're going to do tonight because I don't know whether he's going to go home with me or he's going where his ex-wife is. I don't know. They're a calm person. You have to meet him to understand it.
You talked earlier about how you don't really feel like it's over and like it's.
Let me go back to you for a moment, sir. Talk about the relationship, you know.
You know, me and him, we ran across each other pathway in the hallways in prison. And, you know, sometimes we dab, shook hands or whatever. We speak away, but we never was a crowd together. Like, you know, I hung out with, I'm gonna be as honest with you, I hung out with the wild crowd, and he didn't. And then actually, when I got out and it took me, I said I'd never go back. And I stand to that word right today, but I lied. I went back, but I went back on the inside to speak with inmates. That's what I do now. I go back down there and speak. And I actually seen him in the chapel when I went down there and spoke, and my heart just broke. Not just on him, it was another guy that spent 38 years, but he was guilty, but he out now. And when I seen them two in the chapel, my heart just broke down to, I couldn't even give my testimony that day too. I just sit out there in the audience with them, you know, still being up there with my
void, and that's the end. He doesn't have a conviction, that's it. And then we fight actual innocence. But our goal has been to get him out, and then we can continue to fight.
So we're just trying to see if the court agrees with
The court agrees with that.
Okay.
But now the question is, okay, while it's down at the Court of Criminal Appeals for them to look it over, let's get him out on bond.
Right.
He doesn't need to be sitting in custody. So it is about a bond.
Right.
And so we have made an application for a PR bond, a promise to appear.
Okay. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to just keep holding him just
Correct. And what I was trying to explain is that if you look at the papers that are filed in this case, and that's the only thing the judge has right now, is everything is talking about what happened in '87, what happened in the trial, what happened with his writ procedure. We did not until this morning provide the judge with any information that says, here's Ben's circumstances today. Here are the people who stand ready to help him. Here are the people who are going to support him. Here's, he's going to have employment with Miles of Freedom. He's going to have all of these. She didn't know any of that. And those are the kinds of things, when you're talking about a bond, you're talking about ties to the community, and you're talking about the likelihood that they'll engage in criminal conduct. And so this morning we gave her information addressing those two topics, which are the topics for bond.
So she was concerned about his transition into society.
We don't know. We don't know what she was concerned about, but I'm guessing. I'm trying to anticipate. I'm sorry?
So once a week we were there,